Hello and welcome to the first pet pairing of the year, which, just to give you a fair warning, is going to be a rather low-key one because, as you might have also seen from the thumbnail, there isn't really a palette. The two main products that I'm going to use are a single eyeshadow and one of her liquid fetish eyes, and I might sneak in a palette as the look goes on. But for the time being, we're starting off with a very low-key pairing. I'm going to start off by applying my Inglot eyeshadow primer. And I have the excellent news that Nicola's cast came off yesterday, and the doctor said that his fracture was so mild that he thinks 10 days in a cast is more than sufficient to have done enough healing of the bone. So he didn't really need to be recast in anything else. He doesn't have to do anything special. The doctor said just continue living your life normally, and if he has any pain he will just make sure to indicate that, although he needs to make sure to indicate it, because I think part of the problem of why we didn't realize when his arm was broken the first day is that he didn't communicate it properly with his teachers. I am going to take a little bit of my Auric Glow Lust here, and something that I've been doing recently, and I unfortunately forgot to do it today. So what I've been doing with the Auric Glow Lust is that I sort of apply it as a part of my skincare routine, so I don't really use it as a makeup step anymore. I apply it more as a little step in my skincare routine. So I will apply my moisturizer and then I will immediately go in with the Auric Glow Lust. And the idea is to just immediately hydrate underneath my eyes, have a little bit of time for the product to settle into my skin, and also you can immediately see the difference. This product immediately gives me luminosity and the tiniest bit of coverage. And I've talked about how much I love that tiny bit of coverage before, but it might be that from now on I mention the Auric Glow Lust a little bit less often in my videos because I've already applied it before I even started filming. So just so you know, I continue to love the Glow Lust by Auric. I continue to use it underneath my eyes very often. Anyway, for my base makeup today, I'm actually going to take a product that I didn't really use that much on my channel lately, and this is the Chanel Le Beige Water Fresh tint in the shade Light. Now, I bought this in the spring months. I wore it once or twice, I liked it, but then I got a little bit of a tan, and even though this product doesn't really have much of a color to it, it just felt so off and so weird to put something so light on my skin once it was tan, that I kind of like put it aside and thought I'll revisit this in the winter when it just makes a bit more sense. And I've especially started appreciating this product in the last couple of weeks because I've been, you know, at home a bit more, either working from home or taking holidays, and I didn't want to have like a full-on foundation. And also, for whatever reason, I have not been getting along with my lighter coverage foundation, like the NARS Light Reflecting and the MAC Studio Water Weight used to be one of my favorite like formulas. I don't know what's going on, they look very foundation-y on me. How that's possible, you know, compared to the Estee Lauder Double Wear, which looks so natural on my skin, I have no explanation for. But that's the case. So I've been avoiding using them because I just don't like how they go on my skin and how they wear throughout the day. But anyway, I don't know what is going on with my skin, but I started using this a bit more. And this is really exactly what it says. It is a tint. It doesn't provide more than the absolute most basic type of coverage. And the way I love applying this product is just with my fingers. You will see that it goes on very liquid, and there are little teeny tiny pigment balls in it that you can break by just applying it on your face like this. And the weird thing is that as soon as I apply it, I think, oh, this looks too dewy, and I don't feel like it did anything in terms of like providing even the most minimal bare amount of coverage. But then as my makeup settles in, it starts to look so beautiful and so flawless to just, you know, perfect my skin a tiny bit, but without really looking like I'm actually wearing much of a foundation. And I've really been enjoying it that way. So for example, now it looks really dewy and honestly it doesn't look like it did anything. But as I set it down with the powder and as the day goes by, and you might not be able to see this, or you might, because I'm going to film another video in a little bit, but as the day goes by, it just melts with my skin and it looks so natural, and it does actually have a little bit of coverage to it. But I definitely recommend applying this kind of product with your fingers and not really with a brush. At least that's my personal preference. Anyway, I'm going to keep it very lightweight for the concealer as well. I'm going to take the NYX Bear With Me concealer, which is another product that I don't really use very often on my channel. But on days when, you know, the stakes are not super high and I don't need to look flawless for a long period of time, I will use this concealer because I continue to not be able to decide how I feel about it. It's quite okay. It's not a drying concealer, and I think when it initially goes on, it's quite lovely. But I have the feeling that what I don't like about this concealer is the way it wears throughout the day. I just feel like it starts to break up and look very unflattering throughout the course of the day. But you know, like I said, today, again, low-key working from home day, so there's really no need for me to look super perfected, so I think it's fine. And it doesn't really have like super much coverage to it. I think that Dior Skin Correct is much more of a lightweight, hydrating, yet a decent amount of coverage type concealer. This one is really what it says it is. It is the Bear With Me Concealer Serum. So at the very least, it is not drying out my under eyes, which is more than I can ask for. I'm going to set the Chanel Water Fresh Tint with my Dior Backstage Powder in the shade 2N. And finally, to complete the base, I'm going to take the Too Faced Laminating Brow Wax. I'm gonna keep it fresh with cream products for my bronzer, blush and highlighter today, and I'm going to take the Chanel Original Soleil Eau Tendre Chanel bronzer to do a little bit of warming up of the complexion. And I am really working at getting that pan to look a little bit bigger, because it is just giving me so much joy that I finally hit pan on this bronzer. It's a day I never thought I would see. This is, by the way, the original one, so I've had this since 2017, which is when we moved to this house, so there you go. It's been already 5 years. Oh, no, more than 5 years. Based on how much product there is in here, it is very likely that it will take me another 5 years to finish it. But hey, a girl can be proud of her pan, and you know, I don't actually believe that this product will continue to last another 5 years. I think it is probably at its last legs. But I've gotten some really good use out of it. I've really enjoyed it. I've really loved it. And the bigger the pan gets, the less bad I will feel if I have to bin this even before it is finished. But for now it's going strong and it's not going anywhere. You know what I've realized? That I never actually came back to test out the Victoria Beckham Cheeky Posh in the shade Fever with you. So I bought this in the trio set together with the contour and the highlighter. And I've actually used the highlighter a couple of times. I've used the contour stylo quite a few times. I've used the contour stylo quite a few times now, which is very surprising because I didn't really think I would get much use out of a contour stick, but what do you know, I've really been enjoying it. The formula, the color, everything about it is fantastic. But I didn't really do anything with Fever yet because basically it's a very summery color. But I'm going to apply a little bit of this shade here on the back of my hand. As you can see, a very, very intense coral. And I'm going to dip with my very dense brush here from Spectrum in order to apply the color in this way and hopefully not end up looking like Bozo. Oh, I feel like I'm really going for the Bozo look today. Let me try to blend this out. It is a very, very pigmented and intense color, but it is such a beautiful color and it is a very Mariam color. Love this. This definitely gives me such a like fresh spring face. I know it's not spring yet, but now that all the holidays are done and we're officially in 2024 and the most depressing time is upon us, I can't, you know, help but look forward to the spring already. And why not by cheering myself up with a color like Fever. Beautiful. And finally, I'm going to take also the highlighter stick from Victoria Beckham. This is in the shade Pearl, and I'm going to use my little Real Technique sponge here because out of all the ways of applying this highlighter, I feel like my preferred way is with a sponge. I haven't really wet the sponge, but I don't think that's a problem. Gosh, I love this highlighter. It is just so natural and so juicy. These cheeks are getting me really excited for spring, and also I'm contemplating maybe getting the darker shade of this for the summer months because it is literally the best stick highlighter that I've ever tried. I have one from Too Faced, which is very glittery and unfortunately no longer my cup of tea. But this one is just gorgeous. It doesn't have any glitter to it, it just looks so plumpy. Let's get into the eye look. So like I said, I'm doing something extremely simple today, or at least that's really the goal. And I'm going to dip back into an eyeshadow from Pat. This is the shade Crimson Fire. And I remember why I purchased this eyeshadow. I purchased this eyeshadow when her singles went on sale for like 10-12 euros. And I watched a video from Alicia where she swatched all of these eyeshadows. And I thought for whatever reason I needed to buy Crimson Fire because it looked amazing on Alicia, our, you know, local Pat McGrath Labs enabler. And I used the shade maybe once or twice, and ever since I haven't really touched it. I don't think I've touched this eyeshadow in 2023, and for that matter maybe even in 2022. So I think it is about high time that we do something with it. So what I'm going to attempt to do today is apply this eyeshadow as like a one and done all over my lids, and then I'm going to put the Smoldering Seduction liquid eyeshadow over top of that to create like a very reddish, coppery, brown type of eye look, smoky eye look. And for that I'm going to actually use my new Sonia G Sunset Cranes brush. This is the largest brush in the set and the one that I was, you know, most doubtful about. But I've used it several times and I've actually really enjoyed it. And you have to be very proud of me for not having washed it yet. Like, I washed it after it came to me, like I washed the whole set, of course. I never use brushes before washing them first. And then I've been doing my utmost not to wash them after every single use, which would definitely be my instinct. I love to wash my eye brushes after I use them because I don't like any color or glitter stuck to it. This is a pretty shade, but I really have doubts that I will use it more than once in a blue moon, so it's really a question of why I bought it. Like, the perfect red from Pat is Blitz Flame from Bronze Seduction, and I don't really need any other red in my life, so I don't know what I was thinking buying this eyeshadow. Okay, it's been decided. It's a pretty eyeshadow, but I'm just not going to get enough use out of it. I'm actually going to declutter this eyeshadow after this video because I cannot see myself using this more than once every few years because I feel guilty for not using it at all. I don't know that there's anyone in my life who has any interest in taking over a red eyeshadow from Pat McGrath Labs from me, but at the very least I'll give it a try. Anyway, I'm now going to take the Liquid Fetish Eyes eyeshadow in the shade Smoldering Seduction. And I'm going to do what I usually do with this. I'm just going to apply some here on the back of my hand. And I'm going to use a flat shader brush to apply it on my lids. And I'm not going to use the Sunset Cranes one because a Blue Squirrel, not for liquids. Not unless you want to demolish the brush, that is. And I'm going to swipe this over top of whatever that red shade was called, I already forgot, to create more of like a brown copper red smoky eye. I do actually like how the two shadows look together, but again, I can achieve this very same effect if I take Blitz Flame from Bronze Seduction. Yeah, Blitz Flame is of course a somewhat more vibrant red, but it's in the baked formula, which I far prefer, and I think if I layer Smoldering Seduction over top of it, the effect will be extremely similar. So I just think the smart thing is to pass this red eyeshadow to somebody else who will get more use out of it. Now it seems like I am going to pull out the palette after all. I'm going to take Voyeuristic Vixen here because while this is very pretty, I'm just missing a little bit of light on my lids and a little bit more of sparkle to create a bit more definition. So I'm going to grab a little bit of our beloved here on this channel, Blitz Flame. And I'm going to apply a few flakes here on the moving lid just to create a bit more light and definition. And I need an inner corner highlight anyway. Now I'm going to grab another one of my Sunset Cranes brushes from Sonia G, and I'm going to take the inner corner highlight shade from Voyeuristic Vixen because, like I said, we need to apply something in the inner corners anyway, so might as well be in this shade because it fits actually the tonality of the look quite nicely because it has a strong pink tone to it. And I'm actually going to apply a little bit of this brown shade on my lower lashes here. I could do the red shade again, the metallic red shade, but I would rather do something a little bit more matte. Oh, and I forgot that I can actually use my new smudger brush, also from the Sunset Grains set, to smudge this matte eyeshadow out. Nice. And finally I'm going to take Burnt Umber from Lisa Eldridge to apply here in my waterline. And finally, I actually have something new in terms of a lip product to show you. I sneak peeked this sort of in my Lisa Eldridge Luxuriously Lucent ranking video, where I mentioned that this is nothing like the Luxuriously Lucent. So this is one of the Gucci like balm type formulas, like a lipstick sort of balm formula, and the color that I bought, not surprisingly to anyone, is a red, and the shade is called Edie Scarlet. And Gucci, as usual, has me in their back pocket with their packaging, because this is just so beautiful to me, with a little flower design but still feeling very like heavy and luxurious in the hand. Now this formula is undoubtedly very similar to the Lip Fetish balms from Pat McGrath Labs. To me, these two formulas are basically indistinguishable from each other. They're both that very lightly tinted, somewhat heavier, like balm type, somewhat heavier. I don't want it to sound like it's a heavy and unpleasant formula, but it's a more substantial formula compared to the Luxuriously Lucent from Lisa Eldridge. The Luxuriously Lucent just remains completely unique to me in that sense. I've actually worn this already a couple of times and I have an opinion on it. It's actually quite lovely. On days when you just want to look slightly more lively but without putting more than 2 minutes of effort into your makeup. Let's say you want to just apply the quickest round of blush and maybe a bit of highlighter, or just leave it at the blush, and you want to throw something on your lips, this is perfect because it just gives that beautiful, you know, fresh bitten color on the lips. It just makes you look effortlessly put together. Anyway, speaking of put together, just to make this lip a little bit more polished, I am going to do something that I wasn't doing on the days that I was wearing this lip color, and I'm going to apply a little bit of lip pencil to just slightly outline my lips. Sticking to my newly established tradition of providing you with sparkle moment. I mean, Rosefire Nectar really does the trick. It always adds so much like drama to the look. It is very pretty. But honestly, the type of look that I would go for when I wear this is either nothing on my lids or something very simple on my lids, very much almost a bare face and just the lip color, because then I feel like it really shines through how pretty and natural but yet put together you look when you wear something like this. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this very first pet pairing for the year. Do let me know what you thought about it in the comments. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!